Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Quick History. Today we're going to be taking a look at the first of two videos on the Gallipoli Campaign of 1915. As always, there's a free handout in the description below, and make sure you click on subscribe if you'd like to see more GCSE history based revision content. Let's get into the details. The Gallipoli Campaign was devised by Winston Churchill, the future wartime leader of Britain in the Second World War, who at the time in 1915 was the First Lord of the Admiralty. His plan was to attack Gallipoli, which was a peninsula found in the Ottoman Empire in modern-day Turkey. To the east of the Gallipoli Peninsula is the Dardanelles Straits, a body of water which provided access to the Black Sea. This is important because this formed one of the main reasons for Churchill's decision to attack Gallipoli. The Dardanelles Straits would allow Britain and the Allies to successfully supply Russia with ammunition, weaponry and food to ensure that they were an effective fighting force against the Germans on the Eastern Front. Prior to the Gallipoli campaign, Russia was being supplied by the Allies in the northern city of Murmansk. For 9 months of the year, the sea surrounding Murmansk is frozen, which meant that the Allies only had a very small window in which to supply the Russians with the things that they required to fight the Germans. Attacking Gallipoli, it was believed by Churchill, would open up the Dardanelles Straits, which were accessed through the Mediterranean, and would allow year-round deliveries to the Russians. The second reason for the Gallipoli campaign was to distract the German and the Austrians by opening up a third front. As we've seen in previous videos about the Schlieffen Plan, the Germans were dismayed to have to fight a war on two fronts. By opening up a campaign in Gallipoli, this would open up a third front. This would allow the Allies to launch attacks on all three fronts and make the Germans and the Austrians decide where they were going to fight. There was absolutely no way that the Germans and Austrians could effectively fight a war on three fronts. The Gallipoli campaign would form a strike to the Axis powers and hopefully bring an end to the war. We now need to take a look at what would be the plan of attack as laid out by Churchill in the campaign. The Gallipoli campaign can be broken down into three phases. Phase 1 began on the 19th of February 1915 and was initially quite successful. The Navy began to sail up the Dardanelles Straits, and despite taking some fire from forts on the peninsula's coastline, the Royal Navy was successfully able to shell them and force the Turkish defenders to flee. Furthermore, the Turks had laid a number of mines at the mouth of the Dardanelles Straits to try and block access to it. The Royal Navy, however, successfully deployed minesweepers and cleared them out of the way, allowing a main attack to begin the following month. Phase 2 of the Gallipoli campaign began on the 18th of March 1915. This was nowhere near as successful as the first phase. As the main naval force began to attack the Dardanelles, they were hit with a large amount of fire from the forts from the coastline. Whilst during the first phase the Royal Navy had been successfully able to beat the defenders back, this time there were simply too many forts on both sides of the Dardanelles Straits, which were causing too much damage to the Royal Navy. Furthermore, despite clearing the mines to the mouth of the Dardanelles Straits, the Turks had actually mined the straits all the way up to the capital, Constantinople. As the Royal Navy began to sail up the Dardanelles Straits, they began to hit mines. As a result of the mines and as a result of the fire coming from the sides of the peninsula, 3 Royal Navy ships were sunk and 3 more were significantly damaged. As a result, the Royal Navy had to retreat. The third phase of the Gallipoli campaign came on the 25th of April 1915 with a land invasion of 70,000 British and Allied forces. These forces landed on the Gallipoli beaches in an aim to clear the forts which were causing so much damage to the Royal Navy. As we've learned previously, this was not part of the plan. Churchill did not believe that land forces would be required, but due to the failure of Phase 2, Churchill was left with no alternative. He believed that the forts on the sides had to be cleared to allow the British Navy time to clear the mines in the Dardanelles. The figure of 70,000 troops that were used to clear these beaches is a significant number, however, because it went against what the Allies had been told. Greek intelligence said that it would require at least 150,000 troops if they were going to clear all the forts which they knew were on the peninsula's coastlines. To make things worse for the third phase of the campaign, the Turks also knew it was coming. As a result, they had moved 84,000 men to the Gallipoli Peninsula and informed them to be prepared for a land invasion. Join me in the next video where we're going to take a look at trench warfare on the Gallipoli Peninsula. I'll see you there.